So my name is Dr. Melissa Hayden, and I'm the course coordinator for the Bachelor of Psychology Honours. And I'm really happy that with us today we have Amanda Bowler. So she's one of our honours students and she's currently studying with us part-time.
Hi, everyone.
Um, so I can see that Meng's got the slides up again. So I apologize for the technological issues that we're having tonight. Everything goes to plan and goes swimmingly until suddenly it doesn't. So I really appreciate everyone's patience and sticking with us tonight while we got it all sorted. Um, so tonight what we're going to do, hopefully Meng is back and can work through the slides. Oh, and we also have with us today Marielle, so she's also part of our team here at Cairn Miller. So I'll keep going. Hopefully, Meng will join us shortly. But first up, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands of which we're gathered today. So Cairn Miller is founded on the unceded lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present and acknowledge their deep, enduring and connection to land, waters and community. We acknowledge the richness and value of their accumulated knowledge spanning vast expanses of time. We extend respect to all Indigenous peoples of this continent and all adjacent lands, and to any First Nations people who come from any of those areas and are joining us tonight. So first up, we just want to begin by talking about, well, why Cairn Miller? What do we offer that is a little bit different or novel compared to other institutions? So as you may know, Cairn Miller has been around for almost that's like 65 years. That's such a long time. And they've been really these pioneers in providing psychology and counselling across Australia since the early 60s. We also offer really flexible study options. We have got experts, both academics and practitioners. So a lot of clinicians working within the area teach within our courses as well. We've got great facilities. I'm not sure if any of you have been on campus at Hawthorn or if you've studied with us online before. We also tailor our teaching and our services really to those who are really passionate and keen about the area of psychology. We've got a dedicated library just to psychology, psychotherapy, and counselling. Not sure if any of you have been in any other libraries in the past, and the areas tend to be quite small. So I'm really excited that we have such a great big, large, diverse library available to everyone. It's really exciting. Clearly, you see it's one of the things which I find is a highlight to me. The other thing that I really love about Cairn Miller is just the connection that our students have. And I'm not sure, Amanda, if you've noticed this as well. I love coming onto campus and seeing all the students in the kitchen talking in between classes. Recently, we had our honours um, and postgraduate research day, and even the vibe and the connectedness of the students online, it was great to see. So it wasn't just those in person, but we really have that like really cohesive learning environment both on campus and online as well. We've got tailored support services. So we have academic skills toolkit, we have free Office 365, OneDrive, Word, PowerPoint, etc. And any of the other required software that you need in order to complete your courses and your studies along the way. We are a not-for-profit organisation, so 100% of our donations and your tuition are directly towards helping Cairn Miller continue to um, give back to our community. We do also provide no-cost counselling services to those as well. Okay, to the next slide. Excellent. So just here, I just wanted to really highlight where psychology fits in the grand scheme of things within your study. So at this stage, clearly you're thinking about studying and continuing on with your studies in psychology and thinking about honours, while you might be wanting to further those studies, become a registered psychologist. Some people might be umming and ahhing between counselling or psychotherapy, but honours really is that essential first step in becoming a registered psychologist along that path. It does require quite a few years of study, as you know, but we really are based on that evidence-based practice, and we draw from areas within counselling within that domain of psychology. And it really is this interaction between these clinical and research skills, along with all the analytical skills that we learn along the way, that really sets us apart in psychology. So you may be thinking about why a Bachelor of Psychology in honours. Go. So our approach in psychology, we are a pre-professional, really preparing students on that master's pathway. So when in a few minutes we'll go through some of our subjects, you'll notice that we are really orientated to applied psychological practice. We've got a really strong focus on inclusion and diversity as well. And we really think about how these things can really influence people's psychological well-being. So who might our program suit? Are you passionate about psychology? Do you really want to become a psychologist? Are you passionate about the area of mental health, improving the outcome for others, and really enjoy research or finding out and understanding how things work? Then this is definitely the course for you. We'll learn by lots of different ways, and we do have, I feel, a quite unique model. Where we are really flexible in our learning, that we offer both the course both on campus at Hawthorn East, but also online. And you can do a combination of these within your study. So you don't have to be just an on-campus student, or you don't have to just be an online student. Unfortunately, if you're not in Melbourne, potentially if you're coming from Cairns or Perth or Darwin, being an on-campus student might not be the best option. You'll have to be online, but we do offer that flexibility as well.
So sorry, folks, again for the tech issues. But before we move on to the next slide, Amanda, I wanted to actually pose it back to you. And from your perspective, why did you choose the honours program? What did you feel made it suit you?
I mean, for me, I started the journey later in life, and so I really, sort of thought I want to become a psychologist. I'm nearing the end of my honours year, and I know I'm not going to go directly onto masters straight away, because I'm really keen on getting some work experience out there in the field. Yeah, to go back to some earlier comments that Melissa made, the flexibility of Ken Miller is probably the #1 reason why you would choose to study here, as well as, very equipped people teaching and lecturing and supervising. But, you never know what's going to happen in life. And I think that knowing that you are, enrolled somewhere where people are genuinely interested to help you succeed, that's what I've sort of experienced at Ken Miller. Yeah, so that's why I've chose Ken Miller. And yeah, honours, as sort of challenging as it can be, especially if you are choosing to do full-time versus part-time. It's just so rewarding. And yeah, now I'm sort of getting close to sort of finishing the thesis. I realize just how much I've learnt and how supported I've been along the way.
It's great. We always love to hear from our students, and we love to hear that they've had positive experiences too. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Amanda. And now I just wanted to talk about just what a day in the life of an average everyday student was. So Amanda, do you want to take everyone through what it's actually like on a week by week, or just even a day by day basis?
I think for me, I've chosen part-time studies, so I've probably had a little bit more flexibility, sort of in the sense of still needing to do work as well as study. So I think a daily, I mean, for me right now, the daily sort of recommendation is get up, do a little bit of study, take the dog for a walk, do some more study, take the dog for a walk. But that's obviously when you come, because I'm coming close to finishing, the thesis. But I'd say that, it's really important to make sure that when you're organising your semesters as they sort of come up, week 1, week 2, it's really important to make sure that you put into your diary the things that are needed, the assessment dates, like really sort of making sure that you've mapped out what you're needing to do. Just so if you have a day where you're feeling like, oh, I don't think I could look at a computer screen today, effectively you've got enough time and space to sort of, finish assessments and complete tasks and so forth. So yeah, daily life, it really depends on whereabouts in the semester you are. But I think the way that, the units are sort of structured, it's very easy to kind of plan out when, things will need to be completed. And also because of the smaller, sort of nature of Miller, it's been fantastic because a lot of the units will sort of, the teachers or the lecturers will sort of discuss, when they might want assessments due. So they're not always sort of banked up on the same sort of day or week. So that's really handy as well.
Yeah. So just on that, so everyone knows, Amanda's in the final stages of her honours year and is finishing off the thesis. So the thesis runs over 2 semesters. So most students who study part-time, and we'll get to this and I'm just jumping a little bit ahead, giving a bit of context, will do their coursework subjects in the first year and then they'll do their thesis in the second year. So Amanda, thinking back to when you were doing your subjects. So most of our coursework subjects run by that you watch pre-recorded lectures and then you come into class, whether it's on campus or online, and work through the tutorials. And there's lots of small group and there's larger group discussion as well in the tutorials. Did you want to tell anyone a little bit about your experience when you did this last year?
I mean, for me, I think I was lucky because I did some on campus and some online. So I found the flexibility of that great. So the start of the week is usually, getting prepared for the week ahead. So I think I had lectures on a Thursday, a Wednesday or a Thursday. So it meant that there was plenty of time for the readings, watching the lecture. A little tip that I found really, a little something that I found to work always was if I was watching a lecture to always just write down sort of the minutes that something really important came up, so that if you had gone through and you'd read, a whole chapter of a textbook, you could come back and go, oh, okay, that's actually what I need to know for this, next week or this week's tutorial, I should say. So yeah, getting prepared at the start of the week with the readings and just sort of, making sure that you're watching the lecture means that when you get to the tutorial, whether it be online or on campus, it was just really about sort of, fleshing out everything that we had read and watched in the lecture.
And so this year is a bit different because you're really focusing on your thesis this year.
Yes.
So for coming into honours, it's totally new doing a thesis. So how did you go adjusting to that different type of study? Because a lot of it is self-directed.
Yeah. I think for me, I hope I won't say this too often, but the part-time option was an absolute godsend, purely for the fact of this year being, and especially this semester being solely just about writing, this piece of research that we've been sort of, looking into all year. So, sorry, I may have forgotten your question there, Melissa. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Just about the difference of easing. You've talked about it, easing into doing your thesis. It's a little bit of a different rhythm.
Yes.
You've got your meetings weekly with your thesis supervisors, or if you're working within a team within your other honours students working on that research project. And it really is just getting into that different rhythm of getting involved in the research. And as you've said, at the moment, you get up, you do a bit of writing, you go for a walk, do a bit more writing, but you only tend to do that towards the end. So, and your thesis is due too far away.
Yeah, and yeah, well, yes, not too far. I think we're down to a month now. But the one thing, yeah, I would definitely sort of say is that with the self-directed study that you need to apply during your thesis, I think one little thing that I've managed to sort of try and stick to is just make contact with it most days. So even if you're not sort of, doing some form of analysis, or you're not doing an interview with a participant, or whatever the research piece requires you to do, just to sort of do a little bit further reading, or a little bit, a couple of sentences, just something to stay connected with it, because that way I've felt there's been days where it's important to move back from it and not necessarily be totally committed and have fun with family and friends and so forth. But yeah, just doing a little bit every day has meant that it's kept it quite close for me and more achievable.
Yep. So Amanda's touched on a few things here that I just want to highlight to everyone with us this evening, is that we do offer really flexible delivery. You can do your units face-to-face on campus. You can mix it up, do some on campus, some online, as Amanda's done. You can study totally wholly online, including your thesis as well. Even when you have your thesis, if you're doing it part-time or full-time, you still have that weekly contact with the staff and the people involved with your thesis. So your thesis supervisor. So even though you don't have those classes every week, you do have the thesis supervision every week. And Amanda's already touched on a little bit here, and clearly it worked really well for her being part-time. So you can study full-time, where you would do your thesis and your coursework in the 12 months, or you can study part-time and do it over 2 years. And we'll get to that and break it down a little bit as well. The other thing I really wanted to highlight, even though in that, when we're doing our thesis in the second semester, we do have weekly data analysis drop-in sessions as well. Some students can feel a little bit scared by the data analysis, but we do offer lots of support. And I just find that most of our honours students, they just thrive in that type of environment and really surprise themselves in what they were able to achieve with their statistics, with lots of scaffolded support and a lot of resources around you. So in order how to apply, you need to apply directly, and you apply via our website. You can reach out to applications team if you have any other questions. To apply, you need a WAM of 60, so that's your weighted average mean percentage. So you just average all your subjects together and divide by how many subjects that you have. If you have a GPA, you just need to work out how to convert this into a percentage WAM. There's no admission interviews. You just need to submit your transcripts with your current CV and your proof of identity and citizenship, and really focusing on sure that you meet this WAM for entry into the course. But as I said, if you have any questions, there's lots of detailed information on our website. You'll see, and also you can reach out to the admissions team directly.
Thanks, Melanie. One thing I also really wanted to encourage any of you here today to consider is that we do also offer one-on-one admissions consultations. And that's because we really also, as Amanda kind of shared from their perspective as well, we really acknowledge that students or prospective students might be coming from a really wide range of backgrounds, whether or not you're considering straight after your undergraduate years, considering coming as a career changer or a mature age student. And so those one-on-one consultations are really an opportunity for you to meet with someone in our admissions team to have a better understanding of exactly where you're at and what your interests are, and how you can best put your application forward for further study with us. So that's something you might want to consider. And as you'll see here on the slide, you can contact us via email, as well as the faculty representatives as well. So do make sure to reach out or have a look at our course pages for information.
So I know many of you be wondering how the course comes together. So if you wanted to enroll full-time and start at the start of the year, so this is our semester 1 February intake, this is what your course progression would look like. In the first semester, so semester 1, you undertake 3 coursework units, so professional practice and professional ethics, psychological assessment and research methods. And these, you watch your lectures recorded online and you come into class for your tutorials, whether those classes you come in online or you come in on person. And you'll also be allocated to your research thesis. I've got some example topics that you'll see in a minute about just the type of areas that we offer. And you'll do your thesis through the whole year. So you started in semester 1 and then you begin it in semester 2. Then when we come to semester 2, you've got 2 coursework units, so developmental psychology and evidence-based practice and practice-based evidence, and your research thesis unit. So in semester 1, your 3 coursework units and your research thesis are all equally weighted. In semester 2, your research thesis unit is worth twice as much as the other 2 coursework units. So if we're thinking about time-wise, it should take up half of your time compared to your coursework units in balancing workload. Only you will know what's the right type of enrolment for you. As Amanda and I have said, we do offer flexible enrolment, so you can enroll part-time as well. You can also change your enrolment. You can start full-time and work out that it's not working, and you'll need to drop down to part-time, or vice versa. You might start part-time and then increase to full-time. The only thing with increasing to full-time is the thesis unit has to be done in that calendar year. So it has to be done semester 1, semester 2. So if we have a look at the part-time structure, if you were to start at the start of the year, and this is what Amanda enrolled in and is now finishing. So in the first year, so in 2026, you would generally do your 4 coursework units. So you do 2 in semester 1 and 2 in semester 2. So your semester 1 units are professional practice and professional ethics and psychological assessment. Semester 2, you do developmental psychology and evidence-based practice and practice-based evidence. Then in 2027, in semester 1, you do research methods and research thesis 1, and then in semester 2, you do research thesis 2. And so that is just the standard part-time structure. And as Amanda said, it's really worked for her. A lot of our students are part-time, those who find that they've got work commitments and they're juggling both family, work and study. Part-time works quite well. Some students still prefer full-time. It's really individual and we're here to support you. And as Meng said, you can contact the team and you can have those one-on-one discussions about where you've been, what your journey is, and discuss what the best option might be for you. We also have an intake that begins in the middle of the year. So you begin in semester 2, and this is an 18-month course duration. So in the first year, in semester 2, you do 2 coursework units. So developmental psychology, and you'll do either evidence-based practice or professional-based ethics, depending on which one is offered. And then in semester 1, the following year, you'd go to a full load. So this would be, you'd have the 3 coursework units and you'd start your thesis, and then come semester 2, you'd go part-time again because you will have already done the coursework units, you're just finishing off your thesis. You can also do the mid-year intake over 2 years. Which if we go to the next slide, you'll see that you begin with 2 coursework subjects. Then you move to your research methods and thesis, and then in that 3rd calendar year, you finish off with the 2 coursework units. The subjects stay the same, and it's really up to you about how you progress. Amanda, did you want to add anything there about the progression and your decision to go part-time?
Yeah, I think start again. I enrolled full-time, and then we had census date that comes 4 weeks after that, and I swiftly knew that I was not going to probably be able to really achieve it and actually sort of get good grades and somewhat enjoy the process as well. So I think part-time for me has worked really well for the fact that I've had more time to really sort of immerse myself into not only the units, which, is all information we're going to need, but also the thesis, because actually it's quite fun. And I actually enjoyed research methods in the end, the statistical, sort of unit. So I think, which I didn't think I would. So yeah, I think I sound like I'm plugging the part-time way, but I think for me, it just really worked to, spread it out, take the space. And I mean, I'm, sort of, coming into sort of nearly 50, being 50 years old. And obviously I've had that thought about, getting into the workforce. It's a different career for me, and that sort of like, urgence, I suppose, to sort of, get in. But actually, I think that with, sort of a work within or a career based in mental health, I think that the more life experience and the more sort of time you've had to kind of really prepare yourself, I think it probably has its benefits.
Absolutely. And I think what's really important here and that you really highlight is that we are really flexible in your mode of study and will work with you about what's going to work best for you. So it's really hard sometimes to know if part-time or full-time is the discussion. And I often have conversations with students going, I don't know what I should enroll in, and I don't have the right answer for you. But what I can tell you is we're here to support you, and you do have that flexibility, particularly before census, and you can change from part-time to full-time to work out your right balance. It is a bit of a jump from studying undergraduate coursework to honours. So it's really only what works best for you. Now, I know we often get a lot of questions about thesis. So your thesis is 2 linked subjects. So the thesis here at Cranmiller is worth 37.5% of your overall honours mark. And you have the additional research methods subject as well. So 50% of our course is on those applied coursework units, and we have 50% related to your research and research thesis. So the research thesis goes across the 1 calendar year. There's lots of different projects to choose from. There's so many different academic staff with different types of interests. So I think we're really spoilt for choice. Most students find that there's probably at least 2 or 3 projects that really speak to them and they're really quite passionate about. So in terms of your research, you'll either choose a quantitative, a qualitative, or a meta-analysis type project. We do offer a lot of both of those mixed methods projects along the way. So if you're not sure, if you like one over the other, you are spoilt for choice. Many projects involve collecting data. However, some do use pre-collected data as well. So I'd always encourage you to think about that when you are referencing your projects or thinking about what project you want to do as well. Depending on what other balls you're trying to juggle at the time, you may find that pre-collected data works best for you. You might find, based on your life skills and your experience and where you want to go, that you really want to do the data collection. So make sure when you're reading through the research projects that you really think about some of those other factors as well. What type of analysis? What do you like best? What type of time? And what type of passion do you have bringing towards the subject? Regardless of what type of thing you choose, you will be going through lots of different projects. So here's just an example of the types of projects that we have. So there's some around telehealth. We look at psychological well-being, so a lot within health psychology and a lot within clinical areas. Some of the topics look around stress and parenting and pregnancy. And we do have other research projects around that compulsive buying behaviours or hoarding, or really predicting. One of the interesting projects we have around at the moment is predicting and the impacts of non-consensual condom removal. So there's really breadth and a really big range of different projects available for you to choose from with your thesis. So if we just think about a little bit about life after a Bachelor of Psychology and honours, and I'm going to throw to Amanda in a minute. So in order to become a registered psychologist, you have to first complete your honours year, and then you are eligible to apply for Masters of Psychology and Master of Professional Practice or Doctor of Psychology in a clinical area. So honours is a great way for you to get an idea of where you want to go. Some students decide, and Amanda's not alone here, that they will take a break after honours and really get a feel for the area and work in the areas. So Amanda, what's been the really driving force for you to take a break after honours, and knowing right now that you are going to take a break next year?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, I started just thinking I wanted to go all the way through. And just this year, I started to really think about what is important. And for me, I've only done a sort of small amount of work in the mental health field and research field. So I sort of, after talking and sort of getting close to a lot of students, I realized that a lot of people have had a lot of experience in lots of different areas, whether it be, you know, sort of volunteering at Lifeline or working at Headspace, or, you know, sort of trauma-informed processes, or, you know, wherever they're working. Basically, it's sort of, I could really notice it when I was in class, thinking, okay, they've got the language, or they've got, you know, something. So I think for me, it's really important to go. And also, Melissa, just the other day when we had our presentations, we had, you know, obviously there was a board of all of the senior lecturers and academics, and that was so informative, because basically everybody had, you know, sort of started out on a pathway thinking, oh, I'm going to go here. And it was very apparent that it doesn't always happen that way. And I think that that's actually something really important to remember, is that even though you might start out with this sort of, you know, idea, it's not linear. And, you know, it's really important to make sure you do stop and reflect for yourself to see, like, what is the important step for me? And for me, it is to sort of go out there and see what it is that I'm trying to achieve with this degree, as well as, you know, is it people fronted, you know, is it more, you know, person-centered, or is it more research-based? I still have a lot of questions, and I have a lot of areas of interest. So I think it's, yeah. That's why I'm choosing the pause, I'm calling it, the pause before completion.
As everybody knows, to get into a master's or the Master of Professional Practice, it is quite a competitive pathway. Getting strong grades in honours is at that first stepping stone, but so is, you know, having that experience, knowing where you want to go as well. Often when I will be speaking to my honours students, it's like, that's great. What is your plan B if you don't get in? Several of my students, they haven't gotten into a master's the first time round, but they might have got in the second or third time. And it's about using that experience that they've had in the meantime to really build and really find out what they want to become and where they want to go as well. So I can just see that we've got a question from Georgia just about the thesis topics, if they're available to review. I'll have to follow up on that one. I don't think we do put them out there for review, but the topics tend to say exactly the same. We have really similar projects offered from year to the year. So similar types of themes will come up every year when we talk about the different thesis topics as well. I throw over to you, Megan.
Yeah, thanks, Mel. So hopefully you've gotten some really great information specifically about the honours program at Ken Miller. But what I really also wanted to speak to is some of the student supports and services that we offer to all students here at the Institute. So again, acknowledging that this program is open and eligible for international student enrollment. And we have a lot of really tailored social activities, workshops, study advice, and other services really tailored and targeted to cater to our international student needs, because we really do respect that there is a separate experience that some of those students might have based on, you know, transition, as well as other specific challenges that they may experience throughout their studies. We also do have a really great set of academic supports. So that includes one-on-one learning supports and consultations with our learning support advisor. There are a number of academic skills sessions and other workshops that are offered throughout the year to give students kind of study strategies and tips, as well as a really great and rich library team, which particularly honours students can really use for that research and thesis work. Outside of that, for any students who do identify with having accessibility needs that might impact their ability to study successfully, we do have flexible study modifications and learning equity services to support students who either do have those ongoing needs or who experience special circumstances or personal circumstances throughout their study journey with us. Sorry, having issues going to the next slide for some reason. There we go. Sorry about that. So the annual tuition fees are updated on our website, and they are indicative. So at Ken Miller, we do our best to maintain accessible fees, but unfortunately, as a non-CSP provider, we do acknowledge that sometimes that can be a barrier for some students. But we try and make sure that there are many flexible ways for you to actually pay for those. So whether or not that's for eligible domestic students, utilizing your fee help loans, we do offer as well payment plans or flexible payment options for students who choose to pay upfront and direct. And there are also some external study loans or scholarships that some students are able to access through other organizations or bodies. One thing we also do have is an honours scholarship internal here at Ken Miller as well. So each year there are a number of subsidies made available to high-performing honours applicants on the basis of academic merit and also their contributions to the community. So if that's something that you might want to consider as well, again, I would really encourage you to have a conversation with our admissions team to talk about what your eligibility for that and whether or not that might be something you could consider as an applicant. So just some key pieces of important information at this stage. So applications are currently open and they will stay open until the end of this, until early January. But again, we've been making ongoing offers from August and will continue to do so. So for any of you who are considering, I would really encourage you to apply early just to maximize your chances, as we do have limited spaces available. As I mentioned earlier, fee help is available to eligible domestic students. And as Mel mentioned, we do also have flexible online and on-campus modes, as well as part-time arrangements for students who do or who might be looking for that flexibility. And again, for any students really wanting to go down the full pathway for clinical practice, it is that next step in your APRA registration after completion of the honours year. So now is really the time for you to get in any final questions that you might have had and to really make the most of both Mel and Amanda's insights as current faculty and students part of the program. So one question that's been coming through, again, back to thesis topics, Mel, is what are some of the thesis areas that are currently being investigated this year with students in the current cohort? And Amanda, I might also pose this question to you in a slightly different way. What are some of the research topics that you yourself have been considering?
I sort of probably had a few that I was in. I could find probably interest in most of the research topics that were there. But for me, I have taken on a sort of research piece that's focused around minority groups, intersectionality of minority groups, sort of LGBTQIA plus and neurodivergent individuals. So it's really exciting. And I'm doing a qualitative study. So that's come with some interesting sort of learning curves, because if anyone is thinking that qualitative is less work or an easier road to, sort of completing a thesis, it's not, but it's really enjoyable. And as we've pointed out as well, the support from Ken Miller from all all areas, whether you choose to sort of, make good friends with the library folk, they're amazing. And, also the one-on-one support that is offered for, academic skills is amazing, and the supervision. But yeah, I've probably, even though we've just had our presentation on some of the other thesis topics that are going, one of the big one that I think that has had a couple of different students working on is the non-consensual condom removal, which is really interesting. I didn't know that was even an issue until I started looking at thesis topics. And there's really a lot of focus on lived experience, as well as sort of basically minority group focus studies, which is really fantastic, because we need to sort of broaden research and not make it all about, sort of the general, dominated, populations, I suppose.
Yep. Thanks, Amanda. I really loved hearing about the non-consensual condom removal as well. The reason that it's both, I guess, really highlighted to both Amanda and I is that there were quite a few students working on this project. It was a really large project. So one of the good things, and I think novel things about Miller, is that we offer a combination of both individual one-on-one projects, but also projects that work within a larger team that really mimics the real life research experience. Research doesn't happen in isolation. It is often within a team. And I think for me, one of the things that I really like about working in those larger projects is you have the support from your fellow students. And particularly for those students who are online, it really helps make those connections. And some of my students have kept those connections from their peers that they were in an honours project with, like going forward for years and years and years, even through their professional work. So while I can't give you the list of what the projects will be next year, they are a really broad range. We are starting to collect the projects and the project topics for next year now. So all of the team really think about it and really think about the types of projects that would be suitable for fourth year, that are interested in making sure we've got a really diverse range. So I just wanted to tap into a couple of the questions that we had online. Everything that is offered for an on-campus student is offered for an online student. There is no difference between whether you enrolled online or if you enrolled on campus, except for literally how you attend those tutorials. So it's exactly the same content, exactly the same material. If there's something that's offered, so for example, the drop-in sessions for the data analysis, they are actually online. It's for all students, regardless of what campus you're enrolled in. And I think that is also a really big strength. We have a really cohesive student cohort that attends campus on campus, and we really see the same thing mirrored to those who are online as well.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, I just thought I'd interrupt there and say that I'm actually part of a research team. We're looking at the wider focus of workplace experiences for LGBTQI A+ community with ADHD. And we have two of us are on campus students and one is an online student. And we've been able to really, work the same way, having the same experiences, just, having different delivery modes. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, and I think that is just a really big shift that we've seen in the way people interact and the way people learn. Some of my colleagues that I work with every day, they're based in the UK, makes things a little bit tricky time-wise, but that's about it. The online tutorials go for the same length of time, whether you're on campus or online, so they're 2 hours. In general, most of the units have 3, maximum 4 assessments. They're quite varied, depend on what the course unit is. So they are really applicable to the information that you're studying. We have online exams. There's probably, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, 3 of the different subjects have got exams. So it's not a usually heavily exam-based course. It is really applied with lots of those assessments mirroring what you'll be expected to do in the real world. So the whole idea of honours is to prepare you for if you're going to go out to the workforce, that you have the right skills, or if you're going to go on to further study. So if you want to study your masters, that you have the right skills, that you're going to succeed in your masters as well. Were there any
So
other questions, or is there anything I missed, Ming?
no, that was great. Thank you. I know it's been a lot of information that's come through so far. So I just wanted to remind folks that you still do have a couple more minutes to send through any questions you had, or anything that you wanted to know a little bit more about. But as we slowly start wrapping up, I did just want to pose a question to both Mel and Amanda. So Amanda, for you, I'm curious if you were to think back to when you were first applying or considering the honours program here at Cairnmillar, what is something that you wish you'd known? And that could be about the application process, it could be about becoming a student or preparing for your studies. And Mel, on the flip side, as a faculty member, what is something that you wish all honours students would know about going into their studies here at CMI?
Do you want to go first, Amanda?
Might need a little minute to think. You
All
go.
right.
Yeah.
What do I wish all students knew before they went into honours? I'd like to say that there are lots of options and there's lots of pathways. I think a lot of students come into honours, put in a lot of pressure on themselves and don't necessarily enjoy the experience, just really worried about getting those grades into honours. I would really like to see our students just take a breath, take a step and enjoy what they're doing, enjoy what they're learning. The grades will come. You put in the work, you're passionate about it, you attend the classes, you interact with your lecturers, you interact with your fellow peers, the grades will come. If you're super focused on the grades, then you get really, really stressed. And it can detract from the whole experience. I still think back on my honours year as one of the best years of study that I had. I made some really great connections. I learned a lot, both about content and myself. So I really hope that for our students as well. Amanda?
I think for me, yeah, it was sort of, there was a fair amount of fear around getting the right grades so that you can go to the next level, because with honours, it's maybe not required for a lot of sort of different vocations, but it's definitely needed as a pathway to get to become a psychologist. So I think if I was to go back to the pre-honours me, it would just be saying, don't concern yourself too much with the grades. Try and do the best that you possibly can, because even if maybe you don't get first round masters intake once you've finished honours, there will be so many different pathways that you can take to sort of, and then, get back to it at a different time. I think that was probably something I've learnt the most over the 2 years, is that, yeah, that if I focused on the grades, I did get stress. If I focused on the work and trying to sort of, really kind of immerse myself in it, I had obviously a much better time, and I surprised myself with some of the grades that I received. So yeah, but definitely consider the part-time option, because it really does sort of just help consolidate all the learning.
Thanks, Amanda. And the only other thing that I would say is be honest with yourself about whether full-time or part-time works for you. I've had in the past, not at Cairnmillar, students enroll in honours and still working full-time and then get a little way in and go, that's not working so great for me. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing any type of study full-time and working full-time. And there's other people that it works perfectly fine for. So don't compare yourself to other people. Be really honest with what you can do and what's going to work for you. And if you're not sure, just speak to us. We've got an amazing team. Take advantage of the one-on-ones, admission chat that lots of other institutions don't offer. Really think through what you want to be when you grow up. We're all still working through that, I think, a little bit, but there are so many different options available to you with honours. There's so many skills that you learn and develop along the way. And we really do orientate our coursework towards what it will be like when you go out into workforce, and at the same time making sure you're adequately prepared if you do go on to future study and become a psychologist, which are areas I know most of our students want to be and still want to end up when they finish their 4th year. So I kind of feel like that's a real success of our honours program, that you're really passionate about the area, you're really wanting to continue with your studies, but also that you know what other options are there for you. And I just saw that there's just a question there just about when you change your enrolment or you change your, if there's anything lower than the part-time 2 years, it is something that we do assess on an individual one-on-one basis, which once again, we are really flexible in the way that we work with everyone. Sometimes life happens, things happen that are outside of your control. So we're there to support you to complete your studies in the best way possible.
Thanks, Mel, and thanks, Amanda. I really just want to reiterate how valuable it is for prospective students to really hear from both of you directly. And I know there's been a lot of engagement throughout today's session, so I'm really glad that folks had an opportunity to ask those questions, and would just really encourage you to keep that conversation going. So again, if you are really wanting to consider the honours year, would really recommend that you either book one of those one-on-one consultations, contact our admissions team, or just have a look on our website for more information. We're really glad that there's been so much interest for this course, and certainly hope to welcome you to the Cairn Miller community soon. So be sure to stay in touch, and we hope to see your application coming through soon. A few folks have asked, and a recording of today's presentation will be shared with folks who attended, and we'll be posting it on our platforms as well, so you'll be able to have access. But otherwise, don't hesitate to reach out if you do have any more questions that come through across the days, weeks, or months. And as mentioned, hopefully we will be able to welcome you to our community soon. But otherwise, have a great evening, folks, and do stay in touch. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.